We're living in a world where people don't prioritize themselves. We're living in a world where people want their needs to be fulfilled by other people, by constant stimulation and by validation. We're living in a world where people don't really know who they are. They don't know whether they're coming or going. We're living in a world where people don't really see each other. People don't really hear each other. People don't really understand each other. And people don't really accept one another. We're living in a world full of labels and blame. We're living in a world where negativity benefits many people. We're living in a world where we can't just sit here and be. Why is that? Why is it that we're struggling in a world that's beautiful, yet inside as people we feel like we're not beautiful? We're living in a world where we're made to not feel good enough. We're living in a world where we don't feel worthy. We're living in a world where life be lifing and we get lost along the way. And why is it that we get lost along the way? Because we don't prioritize ourselves. The relationship that we have with ourselves is often neglected, and the relationship that we have with ourselves is something that we forget about. And the work I do, my clients, young people that I work with, that is the relationship I help them to build. And it's like, why is it we're not taught from a young age to build the relationship that we have with ourselves when 24/7 we have to deal with ourselves? We can't escape ourselves. We live in a world we're taught to be consumers. We live in a world where attention is the biggest currency. We're living in a world where identity is being shaped by what we see online rather than what we're actually experiencing in reality. We're living in a world where we're not actually critically thinking for ourselves. Now we're being thought for through technology, through AI, through influencers, just because people are telling us certain things. We're living in a world where we can't even trust ourselves. And why can't we trust ourselves? Because we don't prioritize the relationship that we have with ourselves. We don't prioritize getting to know ourselves. We don't prioritize who we are. And what do we prioritize instead? Constant stimulation, because we can't sit there and be bored. And boredom is a good thing. We can't wash dishes without watching something on our phone. We can't walk somewhere without listening to something. We can't sit there eating our dinner without watching something. We're living in a world where the biggest drug right now is dopamine and stimulation. We can't even bear to think about just being here, being present, being in this moment with ourselves. We're so frightened to go within, to just be with ourselves, because we're not taught from a young age that it's okay to be you, and it's okay to be flawed. It's okay to experience feelings that are not positive per se. But while you're there, that actually lets you know about your humanity and who you are as a person. But we run away from it so often. We live in a world that shows us if we're not like this, if we're not like that, if we're not there, if we're not here, then we're not enough. We live in a world that tells us and shows us that we need to be this person, we need to be that person. That is who you are, that is what's accepted. But really, who are you? We live in a world that shows us that we do not have the capability to own our stories because we're so afraid of being truly who we are. We live in a world where we prioritize the wrong things. We live in a world where whatever it is that we're seeking is definitely not going to bring us what we want. The only way we're going to be able to do that is if we prioritize how we see the world and how we see ourselves and how we try to understand other people. And that simply comes from that whole concept. It takes a village. Yes, it takes a village. Because you're a social being, I'm a social being. We all need others, but we also need to prioritize ourselves and who we are. Have you ever asked yourself, why is it that you can't do anything without the need to be constantly stimulated? Why is it all you do is scroll, 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 and scroll? What is it that you're looking for that you can't find within yourself? Why is it that you seek validation from other people? What is it that you want? Do you know what that is? I don't know. We're all different, right? Take time out for yourself. My life changed the moment I decided to go off social media. 21 years old, I decided to go off social media. And I can tell you that's the moment I started thinking for myself. I was that generation that started on all the Facebook, started on all the social media platforms. I'm a millennial, 90s baby, mid 90s. So social media was us. We were the first generation to use it. And then I found that as I was on these online platforms, I was trying to be somebody. I was trying to be something that I was not. I was trying to live a life that didn't align with me. How often do we do that, where we're living a life that really doesn't align with who we are? And we know when we're lying to ourselves. We can lie to ourselves all we want. Catch up with us though. It always does. That's the reality of life, isn't it? Isn't that why it's funny? That we can try to lie to ourselves all the time, or however much we want, will catch up with us. We can try to run away from ourselves as much as we want to. It will catch up with us eventually. It may be 10 years from now, it may be tomorrow. It always does. So it's better to face yourself now than wait. Because you'd rather start doing it now, then you know it's not going to be an easy journey, but at least you're on your hero's journey. Once you get on that hero's journey, your call to adventure will start, then you get there. Going off social media changed my life. I was that person who loved it. I was a consumer of social media. They had my attention. They had everything. I was like, social media is a good thing. The validation I got from it, how I felt like I was the nicest ever thing to ever walk earth. Yeah. And when you learn that social media is not reality, and the amount of times I sit and I hear people, I see this on socials, I see this on socials, I see this on social, but what do you see in your reality? What do you see in your life every day, the people around you, instead of what you're seeing around millions and thousands of people and billions of thousands of people around the world? What are you seeing every day? What are you experiencing in your real life? I was off social media for 7 years. And when I came back, I felt so disconnected from some people because all I know is people will just be there talking and talking about, online this, social that. And then people, have you seen this? No, I haven't. And then you feel like you're not actually keeping up with what's going on in life. But hey, who cares? But we live in a generation. We live in a world where FOMO is something you don't want to be a part of. You'd rather be a part of the crowd rather than who you truly are. A few months ago, I decided to deactivate my socials again. And I said I wanted to go and experience life in the world. And when I came back on social media after 7 years, I came back purely for business purposes because I know social media is needed for work. That's why I came back. And I was able to grow my channel to over 100,000 followers in less than 6 months. And I'd done that just purely because I'd seen a gap. And I'd done that on Instagram. I was doing it faceless. And then you start to pick up on how the attention currency is, how it works. And you start to see how people just want to be seen, heard, understood, and accepted. But they don't get that often in life with their peers, people around them, their family and friends. And it's hard because they're seeking things outside of themselves. But a lot of things that we seek are within ourselves, and we just have to be willing to go within. Life is beautiful. So when I decided a few months ago to deactivate my socials and go and experience life, I experienced life. And life taught me something. Sometimes in life, you will learn that who you think you are or who you thought you are may not be that. And it takes experience and it takes a willingness to step into the unknown and experience that. And when I deactivated my socials, I knew that. I was like, I feel like I've been missing something. I need to go out into the real world and experience. And it really challenged me as a person. I got myself in a situation I never saw myself in. But at the end of it, I came out like, you know what? You're good. You're good. But that situation really challenged me and who I thought I was and who I believed myself to be. Remember, we're constantly changing beings, we're evolving beings, and we change constantly. And because we are changing and evolving constantly, we have to take that with a pinch of salt, but we have to accept ourselves and we have to be compassionate to ourselves in the same process. One way we learn is through experience. If we avoid experience, we won't learn. We can't learn. We can learn online and we can learn on socials, we can get information, but the real learning happens in real life, in reality. Get off some of those socials, stop scrolling, and really start going out and meeting people, talking to people, and getting outside of your comfort zone. Life will really show you who you are, and life will start showing you what really matters to you, and life will start showing you that it's okay to be you and it's okay to be who you are. In a world that sometimes needs us and wants us to conform and that wants us to push aside who we are in our stories. But along the journey, just be kind to yourself and understand that eventually you will get there. And all those things that you're feeling within yourself, they are normal. They're not a bad thing. You're just slowly starting to deal with them and accept them. And you'll get there eventually. We live in a world that's beautiful. We live in a world that's amazing. Look how amazing it is that you are here with 8 billion other people. We live in a world that is just amazing. But how often do we see that? Maybe ask yourself today as you watch this video, how is my life beautiful? And how can I have more of that into my life?